is that we can go with the punches and make things work, right? When things go wrong, we know how to fix them. Okay. Again, if you guys can jump in at any point, can you let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, because I can't see you. Okay, cool. Okay, so first, the class that I teach is called How to Succeed in Real Estate Without Cold Calling. People have asked me to change the name, but I find this is that pain point for people. So when you hear this, you want to jump in on it. I am out of the Spring Lake office at the Jersey Shore. And for those of you that don't know that, I'm somewhere in between Point Pleasant and Asbury. Most people know where that is. And I grew up in Fairlawn. So I'm going to do a little of who am I? Where did I come from? Right. I grew up in Fairlawn, which is up your way, and lived in Hoboken for 13 years. So a lot of my database is actually from up north. And I like to joke that I speak North Jersey. So I speak a little faster than they do down here. I finally drive slowly and I don't honk at people anymore. But I also am very tell it like it is. And I'm very open and I'm just me, which I think is a North Jersey thing. So I'm happy to say I never lost that. My background is analytics. I'd never purchased a house before getting into the business. I got my first rental in Hoboken out of the Reporter, which the Hoboken newspaper. And then when I moved here, I got my, this is crazy, but I got my rental here out of Craigslist. So I went the unconventional route. But when I tell people that, I say I had never purchased a house before getting into real estate, and I was still able to have success in it, even though I didn't do it. Sort of like somebody who sells diabetes medication can sell diabetes medication if they don't have diabetes. So for anybody who's new, just know having experience isn't necessarily, it's relevant, but you can still go on to do things. So that was my is she for real, my background, some statistics, which I've always find statistics boring when people get up on stage and talk about it. But I'll just briefly tell you that last year was my biggest year when most people were down. I did 37.9% increase. Oh yeah, I had a good year. That was it. I tell people that because when you look at the market and people say, oh, I'm not doing well because the market's not doing well, I truly don't believe that. And I'll be completely honest, this year I've taken a step back and my business isn't as strong, but now I have a much better personal life. So I have a better balance. When people ask me how I'm doing, I don't blame the market. I don't think anybody should ever blame the market. It's us. It's what maybe we need to work on different skills. Maybe we need to expand our network. So just keep that in mind. Like if you had a good year last year, that's proof to you that it's not the market. Does that make sense? Thank you guys for nodding. Okay. So my agenda is we're going to talk about social media a little bit. We're going to talk about your sphere or your circle of influence. People call it different things. And then we're going to talk about how to expand upon that. I like to do a little agenda so you know what's coming up. And again, I made this all in Canva, and this is super easy if you have no, and do you guys know Canva? It's just the word canvas without an S. I highly recommend it. It's really great for your social media posts, for if you do newsletters, if you send out mailers, or if you present like this, I recommend using it. So we're going to talk about celebrating, making sure that you're relatable, engaging your network, reminding them that you are a realtor, being relevant, and educating. So let's start with stop annoying your network. Does anybody have friends? And apologies if you are currently in a marketing network company right now. But does anybody have friends who sell Isogenic, It Works, Beachbody, where they're constantly trying to sell you stuff? Anybody? And their posts are super annoying because all they're trying to do is sell you the whole time, right? So I feel at liberty to talk about this because I used to be that person. I used to annoy the crap out of my friends. I remember being at a bar in Hoboken one night and two of my guy friends, literally, they pushed my shoulders and they said, you really need to stop selling us your skincare products. We don't want them. So that's where I was like, oh, they called it a friend intervention. And then, by the way, they stopped following me on Facebook, which you don't want, because if you're annoying your friends, they're going to stop following you. And then all these great things that you're coming up with, these great ideas, they're not going to find out about it. Okay. So this is an example of how you're probably friends with a lot of realtors. I see a lot of realtors say, look at me, I sold a house, and it's a just sold picture. And it talks about how many people came through the house and how many offers, and they sold it for $10 million over asking. And look at me. People get super excited to show off about that. That's where you're going to have a friend intervention too, where your friends aren't going to want to talk to you anymore. So what you want to do is celebrate that you did sell a house, but do it in a more creative way. So this is an example. Let me see if I can zoom in on this for you. Well, I'll just tell you what it says. So it says this, I just posted this last week. I said, big day for me today. No, not my hair though. Supermodels, look out, I'm coming for you. And then I talked about 3 different things. One, I sold a house in what we call a retirement community, or 55 plus, down in Manchester. And then I got a house under contract in Wall Township. I talked about 3 different things that I'm doing to grow my business, but I did it in an eye-catching and funny way. Like, this is an awful photo of me. And sometimes it's like a no shame post, right? And I had 77 people either like or laugh or whatever, and 25 comments on it. So what happens when other people start liking and commenting or laughing at your photo, it shows up in their friends' news feeds, and Facebook says, oh, this is an interesting post. Let me show it to more people. So you want something like this. You want to make it interesting. You want to make it funny. You want to make it educational. What I also did was I noted 3 different towns. So my network knew what town that I work in 3 different towns. I don't just work in Spring Lake. Okay. I work in all these different towns. And I also tagged my referral partner to thank her for trusting me. So when I tag why would I tag my Facebook, my referral partner? Somebody just jump in and tell me.
So her sphere sees it as well.
I knew you would know the answer to that. Thank you. You do a great job on social media, by the way. Okay, so then you also want to be relatable on social media. So this is about Facebook, but please remember LinkedIn is a very lucrative social media site that people underutilize. That's where your high net worth people are. Okay, so use this on LinkedIn. Nextdoor is also a really great place because those are people it's hyper local. And Nextdoor is an app, and they send you a postcard to make sure you live in that town. So those are people that truly trust the recommendations that come through there. So if you ask for a recommendation for a plumber on Facebook and you ask for one on Nextdoor, you see that Nextdoor gets a lot more activity for things like that. So be relatable. I talked about the fact that I ranked number 3 in the office for the year. So I was bragging about it, but I also did it in sort of like a humble way that was relatable. And I said, this was during 2020, because these slides are old, but I said, 2020 was a struggle. It gets lonely and boring during the pandemic. And here I had 213 reactions to it and 112 comments. And I also had people sending me messages in Instant Messenger saying, thank you for sharing that. I feel the same way. I was really lonely. Even when I had a husband, I was single at the time. Somebody said my husband and I were lonely, so it was relatable. And then I also always post pictures of me looking like crap after a workout because I want to be relatable. And people will write to me. Actually, Sally, who runs our West Monmouth office, every time I do it, she says, thanks for posting. I'm going to go to the gym today. Right. So be an inspiration to other people. The more likable you are, the more likelihood they will either use you or refer you to their friends and family. Okay. You also want to engage your network. So this is an example, and I apologize that it's so small. Let me see if I can. There we go. Is that better? Kind of. Okay. So this is an example of engaging your network. You want to ask open-ended questions and ask for their advice. So this is coincidentally another 55 plus community, but there was a black sink and a black stove and a black refrigerator. So I took a picture and I said to everybody, keep in mind, this is an older community. And I'm not saying 55 is older. This community tends to be like 80-year-old. So, and I didn't state that fair housing, yada, yada, yada. So I just said, would you change this to silver would you give a credit so they can change it? And here I had 100 comments. Okay, so people want to give their opinion, right? When you ask a question like, where's the best chicken parm in Ridgewood? People will say, oh, you should go to, I don't even remember, someplace. And we used to go to Nest Pizza and Trevino's. But what you want to do is make sure that you respond to their comments, because if somebody's taking the time out of their day to comment on your wall, respond to them. It's the polite thing to do. But also, as I mentioned before, and as Orly said, it's going to show up on other people's news feeds, and Facebook's going to find it that people are finding it interesting, and they're going to want, Facebook algorithms will want to share with others. An even deeper way to connect with people is actually sending them a message in Messenger, right? So if somebody says, I would swap that out to silver, just send them a message, say, hey, thanks for commenting on my wall. I saw Johnny scored a touchdown yesterday. Congratulations, and make sure you're always being sincere, because people can smell when you're not. So you want your posts to be eye-catching, and you want to remind people that you are a realtor. And this is not just in social media. This is everywhere. It comes up later in my slides. Remind people that you are a realtor, because if you don't, somebody else will remind them. Somebody in my downline, actually was a client who became a realtor. Her cousin bought 2 side-by-side lots on the beach in Manasquan. It was somewhere around 1.8 million. I don't remember the exact number. He bought them without her because he forgot that she was a realtor. You don't ever want that to happen to you. Even if you're doing this part-time, you just remind people casually, I'm a realtor. This is an awesome way to do it. You grab a funny picture or a shocking picture. There are different Facebook groups that have all these pictures. And this is, for those that might not be able to see it, this is water that was coming down from the ceiling and froze. So I just said, let's test everybody's sales skills. You're a real estate agent. You walk into the house. What do you say to your clients? 176 comments. That is somebody trying to say something funny, but they're also on the back end seeing that I'm a realtor, and I'm constantly reminding them. Everybody always asks, do you do the 80-20? Do you talk about real estate 80% of the, or 20% of the time? I literally talk about it every day. You just have to find a creative way to do it. Going back to the beginning, when I said stop annoying your network, if you're just saying, look at me, I sold a house, then it's definitely not gonna, you can't, then you do the 80-20 rule, but I don't even think that works. So I'm just going to give you 2 more examples on real estate, on Facebook, and jump in if you have any questions. This one is about staying relevant. Super important to do something when it happens. So Bernie, I feel like this picture of Bernie or Chris Christie on the beach is kind of always funny. But for this one, I said, look out world, I learned some new editing skills. I did this in Canva, super easy. I found a picture of a house, found a picture of Bernie, and then I found the for sale by owner. So for sale by owners be like, what? So that got 130 reactions. And then, pardon me, in a bathing suit. It doesn't look very good, but again, no shame. So I was at a craft fair because I have an art business. I was at a craft fair in LBI, and Taylor Swift was on the island. So I used Canva to take a picture of Taylor Swift and put her at my booth and said something like she stopped by to buy coasters. This had 157 reactions. I also then shared it to all the LBI groups, and people went crazy for it. Now imagine I did this 5 days later when everybody else already talked about it. That's not interesting anymore. That just looks like you're trying too hard. Okay. Very last thing about social media is educating. This is really great. If you're new to the business, this is the fake it till you make it, which I did. But also if you've been in the business 20 years, and don't just do this on social media, do this everywhere. You're educating people about the real estate process. One example, the way I pick up buyers at open houses is I ask them when they bought their last house, and let's say it's 10 years. Instead of me saying, do you want me to send you the comps in the area? I say, why don't we grab coffee and I'll sit down and go over the buying process with you. Nobody ever does that. So now they trust me because I'm teaching them something. I'm not selling them something, right? Everybody can do that if you do open houses. So in this case, I always snap a photo when I post something. And here I was talking about being in Brick, New Jersey. I talked about it being inspection day. And then I said, when you're at inspections, measure everything so you don't have to go back to the house. I have other realtors thanking me for some of the things that I talk about. Right? So these are things that you could do. And let's say it's your first time. I didn't know what an appraisal was when I first started, but I went to an appraisal. Somebody paid me to go to an appraisal for them because they couldn't make it. So I typed into Google, what happens if the house doesn't appraise? Posted a photo of the house, said, hey, I'm in Tom's River. And I pretty much copied what Google said. Now you can use ChatGPT, which is amazing. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about Facebook while we're here? I find it easier to jump in. And I want to know you guys are still paying attention.
Currently, do you have a rhythm on posting X amount of times a week or X amount of times a month?
No, I don't. So I just post sporadically. I think Orly was the one who said there's a schedule for it. I'm not as regimented. So I'm not regimented about things like this. I post daily. I post 3 or 4 times a day sometimes. I remove posts that aren't getting any traction. I actually delete them because let's say you and I just become friends now. I don't want you to go onto my page and see that I have no interaction because then you might think, well, why am I trusting her to do real estate? Nobody's commenting. But when you see that 176 people comment on something, then you're like, oh, okay, she's legit, right? What I am regimented about is and if anybody has a house at the shore, I'm happy to add you to my newsletter. I post everything that's going on that weekend at the shore. So on Tuesdays, I post what's going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's what bands are playing in all different towns, what craft fairs there are, where there's a mahjong contest, pickleball, whatever it is. I post that on Tuesdays, and then that's for type A people who need to plan ahead. And then on Thursday, I post what's going on Thursday. Friday, I post what's going on Friday. And people look for that. That is something that I don't have in here, but I think that's my biggest marketing thing right now. I can't leave the house without somebody saying to me, it was embarrassing in the beginning. I can't leave the house without somebody saying, are you Carly Ringer? Are you the girl that posts on Facebook all the time? Because I become the local expert. I went into the supermarket last week and somebody stopped me right as I walked in and said, oh my God, are you Carly? Are you Carly? I've been waiting to meet you. And then 2 aisles later, somebody else stopped me. And then Thursday night, I was in Manasquan and somebody came up and hugged me. My boyfriend found it a little strange, but somebody hugged me and they said, thank you so much for your post because we know what to do every weekend. So that's huge. If you want to become an area expert in it, I am just giving them information. I'm not talking to them about houses, but I've had multiple clients because of this, because everybody knows my name. What you do is you pick your town, let's say it's Ridgewood, or a little group of towns, right? So I'm going to tell you the ones that I know. I guess I know all of them, but let's say Ridgewood, Fairlawn, Glenrock. You take those 3 towns and every week you say, this is what's going on. These are the bands that are playing. This is where there's a steak night. And you post it weekly and the community will love you for it. Okay. And I don't know if you saw on the ad for this, but my little icon of my face it shows my face on the right, and then it says your local resource and realtor. So when people are curious who's posting about all this stuff, they see my face right there and it says realtor. Before I move on, one question people ask is it better to do your business page or your personal page? My background happens to be advertising. I worked in Manhattan doing advertising and analytics. And there's something in the advertising world called pay to play, meaning if I pay you, then you'll show me on TV. Then you'll show me in my newsfeed. So the business pages are pay to play, meaning if you start running ads, they will show you more often, even if somebody just likes you. So post this stuff on your personal page. On your professional page, that's where you can do look at me, I sold a house. I use that for when people are just researching me. I do not expect engagement on that. But have it anyway. Okay. Everybody always asks me that. Sorry, before I move on, any other questions about Facebook, social media, LinkedIn? Please use LinkedIn.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you
Sure.
do you post more on Facebook or do you use Instagram as well too, or do you link them together?
So I'm 47, so I use Facebook. I use Instagram. I just really do the stories there. And I've started to, on Instagram, I've started to post videos. Videos are huge. You'll always hear that. Do videos of yourself and don't worry about how you look, just post it. The
Yeah.
reason I say that is if you don't look great, you are more relatable, right? Like these pictures of me with me getting my hair done where it just looks ridiculous. Women who get their hair done can relate.
Yeah.
I'm not this stuffy person on $1 million listings. I'm Carly, let me call her because I know I can relate to her and she'll sell my house at the shore.
Great. My next question is with stories on Facebook. Do you post them every day as well?
Yeah, so I do a lot of research on this stuff too. There are groups that you could follow. I am on Instagram. Oh, something about Instagram. Be purposeful on Instagram as to who you follow. So I follow financial advisors. I follow people who share social media tips, things like that. Because if you're just scrolling all day, you might as well get something out of it. Ask me your question again because I have ADD.
I know it was just you answered it. Do you post stories on Facebook as well every day?
Oh yeah, okay. So sorry. On Instagram and Facebook, they say to post 5 or 6 back-to-back stories, let them expire, which is 24-hour period, and then post again.
Okay.
There's an algorithm that picks that up.
Okay, fix that up. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else, or you want me to move on? Just cool. I shall move on.
Sorry, can you just repeat that about Instagram? You said that post back-to-back stories, 4 to 5
do 5 or
stories.
6 back-to-back stories. Don't do too many. You know, do you ever see somebody who
Yeah.
goes on vacation? There are like 30 of them. You can actually watch the analytics and it shows you how many views you get. They drop off when you have too many. So just do 5 or 6, let it expire so that it shows as 0, and then post again 24 hours later.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. You could do that on both. They're all owned by the same people. Okay. So, and stop me if you have any other questions. So want to talk about working your network, building relationships. Okay. Networking, tell them you're open for business. I already went over that. Love on them, educate, be a resource, and ask for referrals and reviews, which I'm going to do at the end of this. So I'm not going to go through this whole slide. I do this in my bigger class, but let's chat about your network, good community alliances. I'm going to throw out 3 and you guys share some other ones. So who are good places to partner with? One would be a local cafe. So for instance, in Bradley Beach, I was going to the same cafe lot. I asked the owner if I can have if I can buy $100 gift card. And if I buy $100 gift card, can I leave it at the counter? And when somebody comes in and says, Carly Ringer, my favorite realtor at the Jersey Shore, is buying me coffee, can you buy that person coffee? He loved the idea. He gave me an extra $100. So now I had $200 for me to tell all my clients, go to this coffee shop, go to Perfect Perk. Okay, so that's an idea. Join your local chamber of commerce. That means that you are getting to be the local expert, but now they are also getting to know you. There aren't a ton of realtors that are part of their chambers. And also contractors are a really good alliance because you're always referring your plumber. He might not have somebody that he would refer to, or she, like my contractor is a female. We started working together 7 years ago. I send her a lot of business. Anytime she hears about somebody who needs help, she calls me or she will tag me on Facebook. So if you guys can throw out some other community alliances, how can you get yourself out there? How do you get yourself out there? Anybody ever do craft fairs and you stand there? No. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on if nobody
Yeah,
has.
we have a comment from Debbie. She said volunteer coach.
Yes, that's huge. Yep. So whether it's with a charity or even volunteering to teach classes. Thank you for following the chat box. I haven't been following it.
Can I ask a question? And I'm gonna circle back on the Facebook question that you had before. You
Sure.
mentioned that you have a personal or business Facebook.
Yes.
I'm very new to all the social media, and the
Sure.
only I did it is for the business.
Yeah, you'll want, it sounds like you guys are going to be having a social media class coming up as well. So that might be good to, or that would be good to tap into. But you definitely want to have your own personal page where you, because on a personal page, you can be friends with people. On a business page, people just like your page. So that's more, you're talking to everybody, as in a personal page, you're talking with people. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Alrighty, so
Yes,
now I
I'm
want to do, go
at
ahead.
my for realizing.
Say that again.
I muted myself before realizing it. Sorry, I said yes, it does make sense. So thank you.
Okay. Awesome. I want everybody to do an experiment. And if you're like me and you have ADD, come back after you do this. So a great way to expand your network is, this was one of the very first things I did, which is how I now know a lot of realtors up in North Jersey. I'm going to ask a question. So what town is a sending town to where you live? So let's say you live in Ridgewood. You know that a lot of people come from Hoboken because now that they're having kids, they want to move out to Ridgewood because it's a great school district. So if a few of you guys can tell me what town you're in and where are your buyers coming from, or where are your sellers going to? This is all part of the experiment. So I need some class participation.
So, can I join in? I mean, I want to start off by
I want
saying,
everybody to. Yeah.
so unfortunately, I will be honest, I have not made a sale yet at all.
That's-
So
We all started there.
yeah. So the area that I'm in right now is in Hackensack, and coincidentally, a lot of I grew up in Bergenfield, and
Okay.
a lot of my family and friends for some reason are coming over here to Hackensack. And I mean, I think it has a lot to do with a lot of the apartment options and just a lot of like living housing options over here.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I've heard a lot, and even you said it, which interests me a lot. I think I'm going to do that with Hackensack, but I've heard a lot that it's a good idea to kind of choose an area and become an expert on it so that you can educate people. And again, because I see so many of my friends and family coming to Hackensack, I feel like that'll probably be my best bet, is because I know that they're coming over here. Yeah.
So that's perfect. So save that idea, because I'm going to have you do something with it. Anybody else? Tell me what town you live in and where are people moving from. It doesn't matter if you've done sales there or not.
I live in Washington Township, and people pretty much are still coming from the Pascack Valley area. And sometimes we see them coming from like the Sea Caucus area, but really more kind of local.
So Pascack. Okay. So save that, Pascack Valley. Can I get somebody else? Thank
I
you.
live in
Moses?
Allendale.
Oh, go ahead.
I live in Allendale, and I see a lot of people coming in from the Newport area or even the city, moving from the city.
So I will tell you that, thank you. So I will tell you that this is actually a feature in Command, which I know it's out there. I haven't used it much, but you can look in Command to say, oh, people are moving from New Jersey to Asheville or wherever, all different towns, right? So if you're not sure what your sending market is, you can go into Command and look it up. Okay, so now that we had 3 examples, what I want everybody to do is to jump onto social media. So whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, jump on, but promise me you'll come back. And I just want you to do a post that says, does anybody know a realtor in? And then Pascack Valley, in Jersey City, whatever it is for the town that you think is relevant to your town, just post that, but this is super important. Make sure that the post is global. So you have the world versus private. What this is going to do is it's going to greatly expand your network, because now maybe you didn't know that you never met Bob, Sarah, or Jose that live in Jersey City, but now you have a realtor there. And now you get to know that realtor, and that realtor can send you business because maybe they don't know anybody who lives in Hackensack. Okay. This was huge for me. So do we do that? Heads down, thumbs up. When you're ready, put your thumbs up.
How do you make it global?
Change it from, I'm just going to jump into Facebook here. I don't know if you guys will see it. Okay. We're going to do what? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
What realtors do you know so who comes to the Jersey Shore Summit? Right? So see where it says friends right here, right underneath your name?
Yeah.
You're going to click that and make it public.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to post it. And then after class, your friends are going to start tagging their friends because everybody knows a realtor. After they do that, what I want you to do is message that friend that was tagged, message Sarah in Jersey City and say, hey, can we jump on a quick call? I would love to hear about Summit or Jersey City, because I just want to know about your market. We have a lot of people that come back and forth, and you jump on a 5-minute call and you build a relationship with that person. You could become friends with them on Facebook, whatever it is. Now you have expanded your network in a free way, first of all, most importantly. And you're being purposeful as to what area. Like if I were to say who knows a realtor in Oklahoma, that might not be as relevant to the Jersey Shore. But I know a lot of people from Summit, and I know a lot of people from Ridgewood, Franklin Lakes, whatever, they all are coming down here. Okay. So I love that experiment. You can do that once a week for the rest of your life, and getting referrals. Anybody ever give out a referral or get a referral? Yeah, thumbs up, because that's easier for me to see. I just gave somebody somewhere like $15,000 or $18,000, actually in one of your offices, because they sent me a referral for a listing in Lake Como on the lake. Imagine getting a check for $15,000 and all you did was say, hey, call Carly, she can sell your house. Those checks are amazing. Okay, so we already talked about tell the world you're a realtor, because if you don't tell them, they're going to use somebody else. A couple of ways to do it is by sharing stories. So let's say you're at a barbecue, because now's a great time. And somebody says, hey, how have you been? What are you up to? You can say, oh my God, I had the craziest thing happen to me. I was showing a house and a raccoon jumped out at me, or whatever it is, whatever your story is. Don't say I'm a realtor. You don't even have to. You just told them you were a realtor through the story and you made it interesting, right? I do this with taxi drivers, with Uber drivers. So now, and local taxi drivers. So now all the local taxi drivers know who I am, because every time I get in, they say, so my dad does this too. Did you sell a house today? But if you're driving past a house, you can say, oh my God, I showed that house today and they have a killer pool. I'm going to tell you how to respond to that. But if you're online at a supermarket and somebody has cupcakes, you say, hey, have you had those cupcakes, or have you had those gluten-free cupcakes before? I'm hosting an open house this weekend. So also super important, don't continue this conversation about being a realtor unless they ask you about it, right? Because if they don't say, oh, that's interesting, do you sell houses around here? They might not care. And you don't want to talk to people that don't care, because then you're a salesperson. You're salesy. Salesperson isn't a bad word. Then you're salesy. Okay. So it's how you word things, and it's social awareness, right? Just always talk about it. And if you're a full-time realtor, tell people, you throw in the word full-time, because I think that gains respect, because they go, oh, you do this all the time. Yeah. Okay. Next, if I don't know if anybody's in luxury, the luxury division at KW, there's something called surprise and delight in it. You can do this in any facet of the business, but surprise and delight is when you give little gifts to your client throughout the way, throughout a transaction, whether it be I do this thing where after we get through the appraisal, I send them a packet of it's printed on resume paper. It's a list of moving items. I send them a Sharpie and I send them packaging tape that just says, congrats, we're on to the next step. The whole thing cost me $7, including shipping. So it's these fun little things that you do along the way. And while you're doing it, that's where it's easy to say, hey, do you know anybody else that's looking to maybe sell a house or buy a house? But make sure that you're buying local if there is something local, and like jam. There's an agent in my office who gives out local jam, which is nice because it's showing that you're supporting the community. It could even be, and I try and do this once a month. I send out an email or a text message that says, let me give you an example. Have you cleaned your air ducts yet this year? There are so many air duct companies out there on social media that are scammers. Here's the one that I use. And then align with one. My guy gives 20% off to all my clients. Actually, he does. I believe they do that for all realtors, and I'm pretty sure they're all over the state. I will get you the name for them, because it's, how great is it for you to give something out with a discount on it, right? Oh, so advanced air duct cleaning. I met them down at Triple Play. That's a reason. I don't know if you guys have a resource for that. But also in February or in January, February, you send out an email that just says, did you know that you could get a free credit report? Here's a link. And then you just send them the link. All you do is Google free annual credit report, and you send them the link, and you say, just make sure that everything's kosher on there, because there might be things on there that pop up that are scammers. So I just am trying to protect you. Or when the interest rates went lower, hey, I know you bought in whatever 2024, but now the interest rates went down. Maybe you should call your lender. This is ways of touching base with clients that you've had in the past, that you're just doing nice things for them, right? And in that conversation, if you call them, I love calling clients just to say hi. And I always joke about it. I'm like, so do you know anybody else who needs my help? You know, you'll find your own way to do it. I send out toilet paper to everybody, to 70 clients during the great toilet paper shortage. And this is my title gal, Emily, and she helped me pay for it. So when you do things like this, if you have business partners that you work with often, I got to move quickly. We have 5 minutes left. I'm sorry. Let me see. I'm going to give you this slide to take a photo of. Sorry, I'm a little delayed because of my technical issues, and I also could talk for hours about this. So this is about your referral agents. We'll go down the path of, you just asked who has a referral agent in Summit. These are ways to stay in touch with them. I've come from contribution on here twice. Apparently, I think it's very important. But schedule one-on-one calls with them. Call referral agents just to say hi once in a while. Suggest their names to other agents in your office. I know a bunch of agents in your office. God bless them. Whenever somebody says, "Do you know anybody at the Jersey Shore?" they say, "Call Carly." Right? I do that in turn for them. And give them helpful tips if they're struggling. Whenever I jump on the phone with somebody for the first time, I ask them if they've read, and let me see if I can find it. I've asked them if they've read 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer. Have you guys read that book? Short book, great book to read multiple times. Here's a QR code, and it links to the book on Amazon. It's like $10, but that book is all about getting referrals. Okay. I only have a few minutes left, so I just want to see if there are other pages that I can. Here are other ways to get referrals is if you join the big social media groups, like just all you have to do is type in real estate in social media and it'll pop up. Make sure that you go to events like Family Reunion. There are also smaller events. Ben Kinney has an event that has like 2,000 people at it. I like the smaller events, the mastermind events. I will tell you, the first year I went to family reunion, I didn't have any money at all. I put it on my credit card and I ended up getting several referrals out of it. So if you don't have the money, don't poo-poo it. It could still be worth it. And by the way, you could go to a great place and write off your trip. Host brainstorming sessions with your community and teach classes, something like this. Let's say somebody's an expert in Canva. Call one of the offices that's in your sending market. Call an office. So Cheryl, call an office in Pascagoula Valley and say, hey, can I teach a class at your office? And then you know what? Teach classes at a bar. So that way you get people that aren't Keller Williams agents in. You could recruit them that way.
Well,
So before I jump off and ask questions, can you guys click on my QR code, which by the way, I made it on Canva, and leave a review for me with your photo of anything, a house, whatever it is. And the reason that when you leave a review for somebody on Google, if too many are left at the same time, Google thinks it's spam. They do not show any of those reviews. If you leave a review with a photo, I figured this trick out. If you leave a review with a photo, it's more legitimate to Google. So the chance of them using it is higher. I recommend suggesting that to your clients. You could post a picture of your cat, whatever. When I teach this class in person, we take selfies. But if you guys can leave a review, and did you see how easy that was to ask for a review? So many of us don't ask for reviews. So if like 5 of you could do that, that'd be awesome. And then that's it. Thank you. These are some beautiful pictures that I took
Thank
at
you.
the Jersey Shore. Oh,
Thank you
wait.
much.
That's
Do we have any remaining questions for Carly so far? Any other questions? Last comments?
I just
talked-
left. So I just left you a review. Will you do the same?
Absolutely. Yes. Hey, I scratch
There
your
you
back,
go.
you scratch mine. I'm in.
Hey
There
there,
you
and
go.
one more. So you had mentioned giving gifts to a buyer transaction. How about on the seller side? What are some of the ideas of what you've done there?
So I
It's a
own,
little more
this is not a
complicated, right?
plug. This is not a plug for my business, but I own a photography business and I sell my tile coasters and I give them that really, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on a closing gift. These are $10, but I give them a coaster of the town where they're from. You do little things. I don't think you need to give big closing gifts. If you give a closing gift, do not give a bottle of Vouv. You know that bottle that's orange that everybody, it was super trendy. They're going to drink that bottle and then they're going to forget about you. Give them a gift that they're going to remember and they're going to use.
I did say that. I said maybe after I do dinner.
Yeah, I give gifts. I probably spend too much money on gifts, but I love giving gifts. There's at least here we have a candle shop. You could get you could buy a candle anywhere and just on Vistaprint make a logo and slap it on the candle. Most people don't use the whole candle, so it's sitting around.
I have a question. You talked a lot about Facebook and stuff. Do you use Instagram at all or no?
Yeah, so I use Instagram. I more use Instagram. I use the stories because I think people are following the stories more, especially when they're photos and it pops up at the top. I use that more of like to be a local expert. So if you go onto my Instagram, it's videos of local restaurants and then I tag the local restaurant and then they share it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because the CEO of Instagram was talking this week in an interview about the most popular way to gain engagement is through shares. So if you post something that other people share, that's what the algorithm favors. So I've been trying to think of ways to generate posts and things that people will have a call to action to share with their networks,
I will tell you that a lot of people do the like and share contests. So like my page, share it, yada, yada, yada. Be really careful with that. Definitely don't do that on Facebook. Facebook will shut you down. Be careful doing that on Instagram. So find more creative ways because I just researched this 2 weeks ago. If you do the like and share contests, they do not like that. because they're not making money off of it. Okay, so how do you get something that somebody, if you post something that is like a local restaurant and you just had this amazing tomato and mutt sandwich and you tag them and they will likely share it. Or like ask a question in it. You know how you can, in stories, you can take polls, things like that increase engagement. Does anybody else have any other tips that I can stay on for another half hour, but I know you guys probably want to go. Does anybody have other tips that they want to share? No?
Definitely after this, I feel I need to do a much better job at my social media, Carly. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yeah, if you guys need any help in Central Jersey, I cover the whole Central Jersey. I talk about the shore because I live here, but I sold in like 36 towns 2 years ago. It's kind of crazy. So, and oh, also if anybody has a house down here and you want to see what's going on every weekend, please sign up for my newsletter. I believe it's at the bottom of my QR code, or shoot me a text message with your info. And my newsletter, I will tell you, I have over 60% open rate. I'm going to end on this. I have over a 60% open rate on my newsletter, which is unheard of. And I have people signing up for my newsletter because my newsletter is what's going on at the Jersey Shore this weekend, and then the scoop. So what restaurants just opened, what bars just opened, what yoga studios are doing giveaways. Okay. And then I talk a little bit about real estate. But a 60% open rate is people want this. When I send out my newsletter late, people reach out to me and ask where it is.
That's awesome. Carly, two more things are on the chat before we close. We have Nandini's asking, please share Instagram handle. So that's
Carly at the very basic. Carly at the shore. CARLYAT the shore.
There we go. And second, from Susie, why do you post differently for LinkedIn?
So on LinkedIn, mine are more professional. Like I wouldn't post that picture of my hair on LinkedIn. I don't know why. But I am more professional on there, but I still speak in my voice when I write. So it's still like an upbeat, fun personality that's educating you. But every time you post something on Facebook about real estate, post it on LinkedIn. It's my first $1 million buyer I got from somebody, actually from one of your offices. It was her sister. Somebody wrote to me and said, hey, do you cover Lavalette? I didn't, but I said I did. And then I sold them a house on the water for, it was like $1.6 million. It was my first $1 million buyer. So.
Carly, we have one more. We have the questions I'm pouring in at the end. We have.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to help.
How do you
I have
get
an appointment in Jackson at 4:30, so I'm good to go.
How do you get the information to put on your newsletter?
I used to do it on my own and now I hired somebody because it's a lot of work, but you could just type into Facebook events near me, type into Google events near me. And at this point I have an Excel spreadsheet of 40 different links. So it's yoga studio here, the hatchet throwing place here, the different bars, but everything's on the internet, and you'll probably eventually be able to use ChatGPT to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all out there. If you want, here, let me just show you an example since I'm on here. Oh, also, I just started this group called Jersey Shore Weekend Updates. I started 3 weeks ago. I already have 5,200 people that are members. So this is what it looks like. So on Saturday, yeah, okay. I didn't know what day it was. I do what's going on at the bars. Hold on, let me find a better, whoops. What's going on here? Okay. What's cool about here, this is June 25th. I'm going to show it to you anyway. What's cool is you can see the analytics. See right here where I'm hovering. When you run a group, you have analytics. I was specific about who joined the group. I asked certain questions. I don't let other realtors in. I actually block them from the group. You guys are welcome to join because most of you aren't competitors, so I keep my competitors out. But this is what it looks like. So what's going on Thursday? And I do all the different towns in the area, so people know I cover all the different towns. This is the live music. And then this is other activities. So there's a sandcastle contest. Okay, and then what I just started doing, which is fun, is while we're here, I've been doing photo contests. I thought about doing the like and share, but then I researched it and found out they would shut my group down. So now I say, just show us a photo from your weekend for a chance to win. And this is like my 5th different place since starting the group 3 weeks ago that's given me a gift card. So Boatyard in Point Pleasant gave me a $25 gift card. And then see, people are starting to post their photos. And I've seen that their friends have joined the group after they saw their friends posting these photos. And the Osprey, who I'm sure many of you partied there when you were 21, now other people are starting to post to my group. So like the Osprey is posting here. Different bands are starting to post on the group. And then there's some of them I do videos. I'm particular about who joins the group, but it's public, so everybody can see it. So here's Pier 9. I do this once or twice a week too. Like what's going on in the area, Pier 9 in Belmar, every night, literally every night at sunset, they play God Bless America. Right? 721 people saw this. So they know that I'm the expert. This is fun. This got a lot of traction. A local golf cart company that you could rent the golf carts. The guy drove me around on the golf cart. I took a video of it, and then he gave us a half-day giveaway. And then people, we have 50 something comments. I asked for your favorite beach picture. So these are just some ideas for people.
Thank you, Carly. That's impressive. 5,200 members in such a short time. That's great.
Yeah. And there are actually a lot of other groups out here like this. So if there's already a group that's like the Fairlawn group, don't think you can't start one. There are plenty of other groups out here that people can, there are plenty of other groups out here that are Jersey Shore groups. Just do it better than them. Use Canva, make it more interesting.
There you go. Thank you. We're so
Call
grateful.
me if you need help at the shore, if you are just here and want to grab coffee or go for a walk on the boardwalk.
Thank you. No, thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Claire,
Thank
anything else before we close? That's it? All right, cool.
We're good.
Have a great week, guys. Let's get some listings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Great.
Ciao. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.